All right, it's 7:00 p.m. on August 8th, 2024. I'd like to call the Town of Lake Mills public hearing to order. Draft the entire ordinance is available on the town website for the 61-1 Town Traffic Code Enforcement. The town board will adopt the ordinance at the monthly board meeting directly following the adjournment of the public hearing. All persons wishing to be heard are invited to be present. So there'll be a first call for anyone that would like to speak on behalf of the 6-1 Traffic Code Enforcement Ordinance. Anyone? Second call for anyone that would like to publicly speak on the Town Ordinance 6-1 Traffic Code Enforcement. All right, third call for anyone that wants to speak on behalf of the 6-1 Traffic Code Enforcement update.
Make a motion to close public hearing.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Public hearing closed at 7:02 p.m. 7:02 p.m. Sheet here. There it is. 7:02 p.m. on Thursday, August 8th, 2024. I'd like to call the Town of Lake Mills monthly board meeting to order. Notice is posted at the town hall and on the town's website. Can we get a motion to adopt the agenda or amend it?
Make a motion to adopt the agenda as printed.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Approval of the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the public hearing on that was held on the 8th,
July 9th.
or July 9th, I'm sorry. That's what it was.
Second the motion.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. To adopt public hearing minutes. Can we get a motion to approve the July 9th Town of Lake Mills Town Board meeting minutes?
Make a motion to approve the minutes of the July 9th meeting as printed.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Meeting minutes approved for July 9th, 2024. Approval of the treasurer's report.
Make a motion to approve the August 2024 Treasurer's Report.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. We get a motion to approve the town board expense sheets. I think there's two of them for Jim and Robin. One for election expenses.
Yep.
And I think Jim has one too,
Jim
right?
had for
Yeah,
$60, and I had election, and then the party for Bob, or the recognition for Bob. I had a,
Yeah, you added that wrong.
oh, did I add it wrong?
Yeah, it's $126.99. That's what the check is made out.
Okay, yeah, because I had to do individual. So $126.49 for mine and $60 for Jim.
Make a motion to approve the town board expense sheet.
I'll second those. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Approval of the general fund vouching.
I'll make a motion to approve August 8th disbursements of $69,456.14.
Second that motion.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, the only thing is we took in a little bit more than we spent.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Reports, police report.
July Police Report, we have 17 and a half hours of Lake Patrol. One citation was issued in July, and a safety compliance inspection was done on the boat as well. So hours were a little low for July, but some of our boat people were on their own vacations in July. The numbers are on the way up for this month again, though. Guys are back.
Good.
And that's all I have.
Thanks, Chief Kaminsky. Plan Commission report.
There was no meeting, no report.
Fire and EMS report. Dave.
Okay, all right. On the July 24th, the Cambridge Community Fire and EMS Commission met, I'll just give you the short version. Our bank balance at the time of the meeting, we had $72,000 in the checking and $33,000 in savings. One of the milestones was that we finally got 2 signatures on all the checks. So that's one thing that the IGA states, and it was a long time coming, but we finally got that. So anyway, then we approved the bills paid.
Could you repeat that? I didn't hear what you said about, we finally got that long time coming. What was?
The 2 signatures on the checks.
Oh, 2 signatures.
Correct, yeah. So that's something that was always, it's in IGA, and it's just never ever been a practice. And that's one of the things that the Village of Cambridge and the Town of Oakland have been striding to have that happen. So we finally got it done. I got pictures to prove it, so.
About 5 signed that?
What's that? No, 2, just 2 signatures, yeah. So, but then the bill pay is approved at the commission meeting, and then, the checks are signed.
And don't get confused that the different municipalities pay, or sign it, is 2 officers of that commission.
Correct,
being
the
signing
president
on the
and
checks.
the treasurer signed the checks,
So that would be you
and Dave Smith back, so.
thank you.
Yep. So anyway, then we approved the bill pay of $26,000 and change. We had to withhold the 3rd quarter payment to the fire department of $23,500 because we need to wait for Cambridge and Oakland to pay their 3rd quarter payments, because between now and hopefully when they pay theirs, we have 2 payrolls, which we're through 1, and now we're entering into the next one, and we're starting to, where we need that money bad, so. We do have, a little bit of savings we can draw from, but I just do not touch it if we don't have to. We talked about the IT people, and we're gonna stay with the JJ Lynch. I think, Robin, you've also talked with those people in the prior, so. And the reason it was on the agenda was because there was going to be a rate hike. And they haven't had a rate hike in 10 years, so they were raising it $10 an hour. So, they're still well under the industry average, so we were paying them $90 an hour, now it's gonna be $100 an hour, and a lot of the going rate is, $115 to $125. So, we're gonna stay with those people, but, and then Alicia Hines, our secretary, she is going to work with JJ to get our communications back and forth into a .gov, so we can get a little more security. We also had discussed about being able to give the Town of Oakland, the Village of Cambridge, a RFP for services. The reason for that is we have 3 options. Number 1, or A, whatever you want to call it, our best option we have is to keep the commission together. Because obviously, Margaret, you had said too that the Village of Cambridge and the Town of Oakland have given notice to withdraw. So our best option is to keep that commission or the districts together, because you can spread your costs. The second option, or B, is because they're going to potentially withdraw from the commission, that would leave the Town of Lake Mills, the Village of Rockdale, and the Town of Christiana as the 3 municipalities, or would be the commission. So then, it was my objective to be able to be fair, if they're gonna go out with RFPs to 2 other entities that are for profit, and we are not, then it's only fair if we're allowed to put in our RFP too. So that's kind of what we're looking at. 3, or C, is at the end of the year, we dissolve. And everybody goes their own way. So don't be alarmed, because the service would still go on probably for another year, so it doesn't leave anybody out in the cold. But, so anyway, I know I spoke last time a little bit about looking at other options. So those are, I presented that at our commission meeting, and I'm presenting it here because those are going to be our options. So hopefully we can stay with the total commission to keep everybody together, so.
Hey Dave, I got a question. How
Yes.
long has the commission been in existence?
Oh my gosh. I've been on it since, here comes the date, 2003. And Jim, it was,
From 91 till 2003.
And they existed in 91?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was with Mike Rumpf was
yeah, Mike Rumpf was
on
president.
Okay.
And before me, Bill Stilling was the commissioner then, so I took his spot, so. Then one of the other issues that we are plugging up the leak is we did hire a professional CPA, Midwest CPAs. They're in Janesville, which is relatively handy because our commission lawyer also is in Janesville. So when you go visit one, you're just down the street to the other. We checked around to about 4 different firms, and 2 of them we got no's because they're too busy. And then we did get responses from 2. So anyway, I kind of pushed to get these guys because they have 12 CPAs and they have like 50 clients. And the other one had 1 CPA and about 30 clients. One of my main objectives is for getting hired a professional CPA is, right now we had one person that sat right next to Bob Saloff, which was the old director. She did a lot of the HR work and did a lot of the bookkeeping. Well, her family lives in Ohio, so she moved out there, and now she's taken ill, so that puts a big hiccup in it. The other bookkeeper we had, she was a foreign descent, no offense to anyone. So when she was gone for 2 months, that's another hiccup. So I was looking for a firm that's professional with backup, so that no matter what happens, it can just be picked up and carried on. So anyway, that was pretty much a wash because Jeannie Clark, the gal that's in Ohio, she was being paid $1,000 to $1,500 a month for, depending on the hours that she put in. And Janko, the bookkeeper, hers usually ranged from about $500 to $900 a month. So by hiring the professional CPA, that's $2,500 for cleanup and then $1,500 a month. So it really comes out to be a wash. So, and that's, a good thing, so. Let's see, building maintenance, I approved 2 valves to be replaced. The 2 big main water valves that come in from the street, but the valves are inside the station, $4,200. And I still have to get up on the roof because during a snowpack and ice melt, there is a little bit of a weep in the roof somewhere. So it's gonna be hard to find, but hopefully you can find something. Then we went into closed session, and coming out of that closed session, we rejected the first go-around of the union agreement. So it went back to the negotiators and the commission lawyers to re-engage in the negotiation to try and get that thing figured out. Labor unions getting a little bit antsy because the labor union contract was done up the 1st of January. And we're more than halfway through the year, right? So they're getting antsy about that, but it's retroactive. So whatever the changes are going to be, nobody loses out. So anyway, that's the Dog and Pony Show.
Thanks, Steve. Joint Rock Lake Committee report, their meeting tonight. Town chairman report, city, county, state communications. City, we got our fire contract, or at the first go-around, first draft of that, of the revised, updated one. So that's in front of us. That's good news. At the county level, just mainly been dealing with, and we'll talk about it a little bit later, some of the roads. It's also that aid grant that's floating out there yet. There's another deadline in end of September for phase 2, but I don't know, there's not much traction on Fowler Road, I don't think, with getting everybody on board to apply for that one there, and I'm not sure it's worth it to recycle the Mud Lake Road one, because you're gonna have to show how much agriculture is being produced off that road, and I think Hazel sold their cows now, didn't they?
It's still being used.
But it's still
out there.
being
Still being
yeah.
used.
Yeah,
But I don't know how many more there are on there that, and not having another partner,
yeah. Crew wells are no longer on.
I'm not sure, it's gonna be a very competitive grant, I'm sure, that, they're gonna look at several different things for that. I mean, it's still out there, it'd still give us some time, to do it, so we can put it on the September meeting agenda. Chicken farm, never heard anything back from the county on that. Did talk to somebody over there at the facility. They are still in the process of improvements. They also wanted the city manager or the contact over there, because there are some potential options for them to create some sort of pipeline over to the municipal waste factory and kind of work together and do some things there as well, with some newer technologies. So I think they were going to be in contact there. And there was also some concern on some residential or community complaints through emails or whatever, and I just basically said that's more of a civil thing between them and those individuals. We don't really typically get involved in that, so they can handle those in whatever fashion that they want to. At the state level, the bridge project doesn't look like it's going very fast on Rock Lake Road, unfortunately.
How's Newville looking?
Still working on it, so.
Yeah, it's
Same, right?
I'm
They're
trying
both-
to avoid that area because
Yeah.
of all the workers, trucks and everything.
Yeah.
I don't like to even be in that intersection.
road reports. I know Matt did another round of potholes. There's still a couple areas that have resurfaced, especially after this last rain, unfortunately, to address. Tons of trees down everywhere. So he's gonna be working on that pretty hard the next month.
Do you know who cut the trees and pushed them off of Crokeville Road? There were two spaces or places where there was a tree that fell on the road, cut
I
and
saw
pushed
that.
off.
No,
I did.
Matt, you did that?
Yeah, I did that.
Okay,
But I told Matt right away. I was
Okay.
keeping updated,
okay,
and then you guys started chiming in with
Okay.
the dispatcher calls, so now I had to get to work, so I did it.
And
That's fine.
he did get the lift out there to get that cottonwood hanger.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, yeah, right, yeah, I saw that, so yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, regular mess out there. We really didn't need that, at all, so it's there.
Especially at 4 o'clock in
and
the
he's still
morning.
going around and finishing,
Yeah,
cleaning
it's
it up,
gonna-
it's just all of them were pushed off the
Yeah,
road from
yeah.
temporary.
It's gonna take him a while, and, there's other, contractors out there too that everyone's swamped.
Yep.
Everyone's swamped and everyone's behind with, the weather, coming out of spring.
And some of them are huge, so it's gonna take a lot of work.
Update on the Pier Ferry Park, it's in. So we're just kind of working out a few other details on that, to get that, installed, and that's hopefully gonna be the temporary one that will move to Elm Point at some point, if we ever get the north
So-
launch.
Let's clarify, the pier is not in the lake, it's been
Here.
received.
It's been received,
It hasn't been installed
has
yet.
not been installed yet.
Okay,
Received to the person that's going to do the installation.
there we go.
There we go, clarify that. All right, and report on the county discussion about emergency services. I'll put that under you, Dave.
Okay, right now, Steve Nass, our county board supervisor for District 15, our area, and the county administrators are going around and they're having small meetings with every single township in Jefferson County to do what I'm going to call a fact-finding mission, to figure out what the issues are, so they can start to get a little bit of a roadmap of what needs to be done, what are the things that they need to start paying attention to. So once that's all done, then they can be kind of setting up a committee or a commission to kind of address these things so they can get together. and hopefully put together a good plan. One of the things that the county is talking about is to do a county-wide tax levy. I don't know what you guys think, but I personally think that's a real good idea, because instead of the individual townships having to assess to cover emergency services, when it becomes county-wide with the 80,000 plus people that are in Jefferson County, should hopefully help out a little bit.
So is that gonna be in replacement of what we budget each year then for emergency services?
Hang on for a second. I don't have a good answer for that. So anyway, I'd like to believe yes, the answer to that question, Robin, would be, but, so anyway, this would be for EMS only. It would not involve fire, and there's our boss right there. So we're gonna let you chime in a little bit, Steve, if you want. So anyway, then the other thing is it's, the county is not looking at coming in and taking over managing the EMS. You would still operate out of the same stations, and the county is not into building buildings. So a lot of the entities would just operate as normal. One of the things that was talked about was the taking away the county lines where they intersect with other districts, which Dane County, Dodge County, and probably some of Waukesha County, Walworth County, where our Jefferson County EMS emergency services enter into those counties. So then, if you take away those intersecting lines, and then hopefully the decisions would all be made off of response time, in which entity would be handling those areas rather than the way that some of them are being done now. So, the county would not operate the EMS stations. That would be left up to the districts to do. Basically what we're taking a look at is that it's going to be a pool of money that could be drawn from. Kind of the answer for your question there, Robin, would be for equipment, labor, and updates as we go through this transition of more and more expensive. Let's see, and then hopefully, Stephen, correct me if I'm not staying on track here, but trying to get it underneath all one medical director, so that instead of competing for the same personnel, that it would be one great big giant entity, and you potentially could maybe respond to different stations, so you're not competing for the labor pool. Let's see. One of the other things that Michael talked about is, and I guess Steve, you touched on it a little bit too, there's not really a good model to follow, because in kind of Jefferson County is not really as rural as a lot of the other models, and Tom, we had talked a little bit about that too. So, anything else to add, Steve?
I didn't hear the whole thing, so I just came.
You heard the best part. So I kind of, I think, sums it up somewhat.
All I would add is, not add, but explain, is that what we've done so far is just fact finding. Most municipalities are what we call the asset holders. We've had discussions with, and then we did with town chairman, and we're gathering facts and trying to come up with some sort of idea. Now, there's problems with coverage, there's problems with GIS, there's problems with boundary lines, so to say, GIS. There's inconsistencies in contracts, there's inconsistencies on how people get charged, some by equalized valuations, some by per capita, some by run calls, and the standardization would help between stations sometimes. These are all things that were explained to us. We don't have a plan that we're going to impress upon people. We just want to find out what the facts are, what the problems are, and then where can we possibly help and insert ourselves. And this is going to be baby steps. This may be revolve over years. But we all know it's gotta be fixed, and it's not just here, it's statewide,
Yeah.
it's nationwide, and it has to be done. And so, this is something that I'd like to, we're hopefully down the line, we put together some working groups to, kind of put together a plan for where we wanna go, and then we'll see from there. Right now, one thing we gotta remember, we aren't talking about a county-run EMS system, a county-wide EMS system. And we'll have to come up with a formula for those places that cross county lines. And we also wanna somewhat equalize out the level of care. We were just recently in Koshkonong, and they're split between two services. One's EMS basic, one's paramedic. So if you fall on this side of the line, you're gonna get basics. If you fall on the other side, you're gonna get paramedics. And is there some way we can kind of equalize that out across the whole county, so everybody's got at least a baseline of good coverage? That's about all I can say, because we're still compiling it.
Yep.
Once we compile all this information, we're going to send it out to all the people we talk to, let them, chew on it a while and see where we go.
Yep. Did you get my text for Randy at Lakeside?
Yeah.
Okay. I really encourage you to give him a call. He's very, very smart. He was, involved in a lot of that transition that took place, and then he's worked in, other entities around the country. So.
Yeah, we had quite a discussion with the summer folks because of their dealing with that.
Oh, okay, yeah, right, yeah, because they're part of, which is really unique, because they have dense population, and then they have scattered population and rural, so it's kind of a unique.
They built the station between the two.
Yeah, right, yeah. And then again, Steve, the same thing that we had touched on, it's all about response time and those intersecting lines, and that's how they're strategically placing their stations. It's population and the number of calls, so.
It's, to put it quite simply, it's a 5-dimensional chess game that we're probably going to need AI to figure out.
I agree, like I told you, it's uphill battle.
Can I just ask a question regarding that, or no?
It's up to you.
Yeah, sure.
I meet with Ben about once a month, a bunch of the mayors and stuff, and this is a conversation we keep having. Are you involved with conversations with him?
Yeah, I'm on the board chair.
Okay, so you guys are.
I'm sitting in for him here tonight because he couldn't make it.
Ben?
He said,
There you go.
yeah,
All right, let's move on.
All right,
his daughter's moving off to school.
okey doke. Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Steve.
You're welcome.
Parks Committee report, no meeting. Town Hall Facilities Committee report.
No, we haven't had a meeting.
Period of public comment. This is time for the general public to come to the podium. Please state your name, your address, and please keep your comments to less than 3 minutes.
Make sure you,
I've been here for some time because of surgeries and stuff. Anyway,
okay, hold on, make sure you sign in, please.
Yeah, I will.
All right, thank you.
Sally Jones, W8178 Elm Point Road. Been here since '55. And my grandparents and my parents, they both bought that damn chicken farm. Because I'm within 2 miles, and the smell is horrendous. And I don't approve of you guys not backing us up, because we have tried to do something about it. It is, the DNA is now in the marsh for the chickens, so things are flowing in there. But this EMS thing is just freaking unbelievable. I can't believe this is going on. Can't you have the fire department have EMS people?
That becomes a difficult topic, it really does. And the fire department, it does have 2 paramedics on it, but they are not licensed by the state to be able to respond. And that's one of the things that, working with Steve, that we're trying to fix.
And I think Steve just laid it out nicely. It's a very complicated
It
situation.
is, it's,
Super complicated, and it's been worked on for a long time. It's on every one of our agendas.
Yep.
I mean, there's a lot of hard work being put into it. It's not an easy thing.
Is there still problems between the city and town? Because that's what I've heard for a very long time, there's, bad feelings. Is
I
that,
think they've been working together.
Yeah,
pretty well.
I think with the new administration we have there and the new chief that we have, they have really opened up the door to all the other municipalities that they work with. So I think that's on the healing, mending pile, so.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think so.
Yep.
well, thank God. And the other thing is these wake boats. I don't like them because of tearing up where all the fish are going to spawn, because you can see now some of these people that are out there, they don't care. I've caught them going around the buoys and, for the skidoos and other things, and a rental place that's next to me, they're skiing right out to the shoreline until I went over there, and then I got bitched out. So, there's not a whole lot of police, and who do you call? That's it.
Thank you.
That's what you call it right there.
Better make a note of that.
Any other public comment?
Yes. Hi, thanks, Robin, for allowing me to come here tonight. I won't take much of your time. My name is Jennifer Quimby. I'm actually the mayor of Waterloo, and everything you guys are talking about are all on our agenda too. Yeah, and that's why I asked about Beth, because we're having this conversation every month as well.
Good.
Very much care about everything municipality-wise. That's why I'm running for state assembly. I've been on city council since 2008, served 3 terms on the school board, and resigned when I became mayor in 2019. And so that's why I decided to run in this district. And like I said, you guys are talking about all the same stuff that I care about, whether it's roads or fire or police or whatever. So I'm hoping I can make a difference if I get elected. So thank you very much, and no budget season.
Thank you.
Good, thanks.
Any other public comment? Going once.
Do
Going
you
twice.
want any of that, because I know like they're here for the walkways and stuff. Do you want anyone that's here for the topics on the agenda to speak now on? Or do you want to wait till
I think if we have
after?
questions, we can just get them answered at
Okay.
that time. Third call for public comment. Okay, moving on, applications.
We have 2 applications for operators, Kyle Keller and Heather Newton, both of the Lake Mills store, one of Lake Mills store, Kyle Keller, and then the Crowville Oasis for Heather Newton.
Make a motion to approve both.
Second.
I looked at them.
We're all good?
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, I think Heather, she's a repeat. She's had one for 3 years in a row, I think.
All right, no other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay, motion carries. Old business, discussion or decision of memorandum of understanding with Jefferson County Parks for the North End Boat Launch Facility.
Dave Waltz is here, right? Walt Christensen from the county, if we need questions.
So, I did a quick read-through. I looked at, obviously, Robin provided us with some other examples of MOUs. I know there's been some edits made to the one that the county set out. My biggest question is, why does there need to be extra bureaucracy on something that the town has done forever?
Decades.
For decades. To me, that's just I don't know why the county would want to even get involved. I mean, it's just extra work for more people that don't have time to do the extra work.
I think
It's something that works very well the way it is now.
a little background on, this is for the North End Boat Launch so that we can receive a grant to make the launch safer and improve.
Safer and easier to get in without damaging the equipment that would be put in there.
And in past years where we've had to make updates or redesign the boat launch, we did not have to have a memorandum of understanding.
Nope.
The DNR is requiring one now. In years past, we basically had the county say, yep, they can go forward with it, so just things have changed a little bit.
And this, obviously, they're way back when in time, when all this started and how things got divvied up, the town ended up with, obviously, the boat launch, but didn't end up with the actual road or right of way, essentially. So that became shared some way, somehow.
No, we own the road right of way. We don't have all of the shoreline.
Oh, the shoreline, so part of the shoreline, and that might be a zoning, issue too, I don't know, but, at the end of the day, the town we have to take care of the road. We have to take care of the existing launch, which has been damaged quite severely in the past several years, and probably even before that. We have law enforcement on the lake. One of our law enforcement officers has always collected the fees, in which they just collect all the fees and they all go in one pot because all the launches are shared launches in the township, to be able to provide updated equipment at each one. I have no problem with updating this MOU, but I do have a problem with having to go through extra layers of government to approve expenditures. And I think it was a year or so ago, probably a year and a half, almost 2 ago, I know the park needed to remove a bunch of trees, and I know this board, we can go back in history, decided against spending the money on those trees because the trees hung over the playground set, and it didn't meet the boat launch area. And to me, I think mixing the park into this, at the county level, I think funds are gonna get sniped off for all this other stuff where the money doesn't belong. And it belongs for these expensive launches, because they're expensive to repair and to put new ones in, hundreds of thousands of dollars. All that money gets allocated basically back into those launches. Maybe a portion gets, which I think the board would be agreeable to, on a prorated deal to the restrooms when those need to be updated, because on a small percentage, boaters do use the restrooms. But at the end of
The DNR has very specific rules of what
Yep.
we can use the launch fees for. And this is where the topic comes in as to whether or not we should be helping pay for trees removed over a playground. That's just a clarification.
Yep,
We
good
understand.
clarification. So yeah, it's pretty specific, and I think muddying the territory is a really bad idea. I think the town has operated for a long time. There is a tree we had to take down, a huge elm tree that was near the launch that we did pay for with launch fees. And it was an expensive tree. But that met the qualifications of the DNR guidelines. So I think the funds are all set aside in the Rock Lake account. They all go towards the landings and what's specifically specified on that sheet of paper. And I think the town of Lake Mills has done an incredible job over the years, being cooperative and getting that done. Those are my thoughts.
Specifically, I think Tom's referring to paragraph 2.3, which again is where the county, it says, where the county shall review and approve expenditures from the launch segregated account, including all expenditures related to the subject project. I agree. I also don't know why the county would even want to be involved with that project of putting in the new boat launch at this time. Why? I don't get that at all.
Well-
Why? No, I just don't see why you would want to have anything to do with the project. I understand the rest of it, with the town to create an annual work plan of approved expenditures as outlined in Exhibit B, which is what you can and cannot use boat launch fees for. I mean, I don't have a problem with that. I personally don't. I don't have to do the work plan other than at budget time, but I just think it's going to be a lot of work for the town, and to get the county and the town to agree on a budget for that yearly is going to be a challenge. But my first point is, why, and maybe you can answer it, maybe can't, why do you want to be involved in the project at all? I mean, it's, your money is not, all we're going to do is, a contractor is going to do it, our engineer is going to be watching it, we're going to approve payment and everything, so we're responsible. If you are approved, county wants to approve expenditures, I think they're going to take on some kind of liability by doing that. I just don't understand why you want to be involved in that. Maybe you can answer it? I don't.
Yeah, so I'm Walt Christensen, I'm a county board supervisor, and the chair of the Parks Committee at this time, and that's why I'm here tonight, to see what I can do to help you understand why we are taking this approach. So initially, our interest was the approach from the town to cooperate with the MOU, because that's what the DNR requires, to get these funds released. They have those issues that they need to have resolved, and we're happy to do that. We do think, though, that there are capital expenses in the future that we would like to work with the township on. We have done that in the past, I believe, where there was cooperation regarding maintenance and repair of the parking lot with the town and the county. The county can bring certain resources that the town doesn't have to projects that will enhance the voting experience there. It's launching for one thing, but there are other bathrooms and there's other amenities and things that the voters use, and we provide, and we're happy to do that. That's part of our role. But from time to time, we think that the town and the county can cooperate on certain capital expenses for certain items where the county's ability to get bids and develop a good project. We've got engineering staff and so on, and work with the town to have a successful enterprise up there at the boat launch.
I understand that, but that's not what 2.3 says.
Right.
2.3 says you want to be involved in the boat launch project that is going to be let. That's what that says.
So
I understand your future things, that your restrooms and other things like that. I don't have a problem with cooperating with the county on that at all. But,
And we have in the past.
we have in the past.
But we
I think-
won't on
Do you
stuff
have,
that doesn't
a
apply to
copy
the
of
launch.
this? So if you rate 2.3, if you just took out where it says including all expenditures related to the project and the work, take that out, and then I have a problem with that entire paragraph. But
The only thing I'll bring
my question is, why do you want to be involved in, if we get the grant, we're responsible to get it built, and we're gonna pay all the bills. County's not involved in any of that. But I understand your point about the future. I don't have a problem with that. But that's not what that paragraph says.
I think
In my interpretation, that's not what that
from
paragraph
a
says.
financial
Do you read it that way?
No.
From a financial standpoint, it would be very difficult for us to
I read it
segregate
somewhere.
out those funds just from the north end.
Same way you read it.
Yeah.
And to be able to report that to you guys annually, we could give you what's in the Rock Lake account, but to segregate out just the north end launch fees that's a task that's, just too much.
Yeah, and I also, I emailed Kevin a week or so ago and told him that when you reference North End Boat Launch in this entire thing,
Yeah.
there's 3 launches that the town runs. And people pay annually, so they pay, sometimes they buy their permits through the tax roll. We don't know which launch they're using.
Right.
So we cannot segregate it out and say this much money went to the north end. It's the entire account, so I suggested him just change it to the Rock Lake Boat Launch account, segregated account. But I guess he
The other
didn't take my suggestion.
aspect of this too is we're not seeing a financial from you guys as far as the fees you guys bring in for the shelter use either. I mean, is it gonna be a two-way street or is it gonna be a one-way street as far as the financial reporting?
Well,
I don't think we're gonna share our budget with the towns regarding our county parks. I think that's something that, if that's what you're asking, Robin.
Because we ran into that with Porth Park, having to put that road in, and that road's it's a nightmare. We gotta spend another 20 grand on it this year, and there's only a couple residences on that road. It's for the park. The reason that road went in is for the park, so the town was the big loser in that one, because we gotta maintain that thing going forward.
Is it possible to create language in this that basically says future projects will be worked on together and funds will be mutually agreed upon for certain projects that relate specifically to what we can use funds for based on the DNR regulations, rather than specifically saying we need to keep report this record to you guys whenever, annually on this. Can the language be changed somehow there?
Well, the language can always be changed, but I'm not here to change the language
Right.
tonight. This language was developed by our corporation counsel, who's legally more able to do that. If you make a decision tonight and you include an amended version of this in your decision, and then we will have a meeting in the Parks Committee just prior to the county board meeting on Monday at 5:30. And the subject of that meeting is this MOU. And so if you return this MOU and it's different, then we will consider that. I'm not sure that it will pass in the changed form. That's a chance you take, I guess.
Corey, correct me if I'm wrong, we just need a draft letter right now. A letter of support, basically.
We need a draft MOU that meets the DNR's requirements. It does not have to be adopted. It would just.
We don't have to have a finished product yet.
It would have to be adopted before the project begins. though.
Okay. The one thing I want to point out also, the sample that was originally sent by Cheryl from the DNR did not include language as far as the separation of the fees. The language as far as accounting of the fees and specifically about this project, that was not part of the original sample. The sample that she sent was super simple, and it's been drafted into what we see in front of us.
May I offer a suggestion? That since the Parks Committee is meeting on this Monday, and staff will be there, I think that's a good opportunity to negotiate and come to a conclusion. Well, come with your ideas, then come with your, and you guys can negotiate it at that time. I mean, it isn't an all or nothing thing. The county wants to work with you, and I know you want to work with the county. I think it's just a matter of some details here. And I'm not, I don't know if the rest of the Parks Committee at this point completely understands the whole situation here either. So I think it'd be worthwhile to sit down with them, and that they've got to recommend it. Ultimately, the county board's got to approve any MOU. But I think that'd be worthwhile, and I don't think Walt would have any problems. He's the chair of the committee. Because you got nothing else on the agenda, do you?
No, and we welcome your input if you want to either produce what you desire to do out of this meeting here and send it along, or if you all come forward and talk about that. I think actually having more of your your board at our committee meeting would be beneficial.
Yeah, the other issue too, I think, is, just quickly, is we have one guy, and well, he's the longest standing officer in the state, now he's a citizen patrol that collects those fees. He's collected them forever in time. If we were to separate collections, then I would say, well, then the county's gonna have to come up with their collection person, because I don't think we should do it.
Yeah, have that discussion.
Because
I mean, have that discussion, Tom.
I think the county has to have skin in the game, and they typically never seem to have skin in the game on the deal.
Well, I would say, I think the county does have some skin in the game. We do the regular maintenance all around there that the boarders enjoy, as well as other park boards. So keeping the place tidy, keeping the garbage dumped, and the lawn mowed, and all those normal maintenance duties that are listed in here, we've been doing those for years. I think we've had a pretty good cooperative arrangement so far, and I think we can continue.
But that's a park. I mean, that's where I think we need to separate the two things. There's the park and there's the boat launch.
And we do the snow plowing.
And we actually snow plow, we do all that stuff.
Maintenance.
But there's no fence between them. So that's what I'm getting at. We provide benefits to the boarders for their enjoyment, and we're happy to do that. There's a few things we would like to be more solid on regarding future capital projects.
I don't have a problem with that. Future projects, cost sharing that are related and can be legally used for, per Exhibit B. I don't have a problem with that. But if you're gonna bring that into it, then you've got the whole other issue of the parking lot on the north side of County Trunk B, which I think should be brought into this too. Because when we went for this first grant, we did it in, I guess, cooperation with the county, or you guys went with us. I know I met with the Parks Board at that time, and we had good cooperation and got it all done, and I know that Joe Niemer and I and Patricia Cicero went up to Green Bay and presented this in front of the DNR and did all that stuff together. We got it done. We cost shared with the pavement and everything on the parking lot and all that, so there was, I guess, I was surprised that there was nothing written or an agreement at that time to find out that nothing was done, but I think this is the time to bring that all into it. Because there's striping in there, there's gonna be pavement someday, there's gonna, the restrooms, I don't have a problem with any of that. Because we do collect money and we need that stuff to run our launch. But I guess my biggest issue is why you wanna be involved in this project,
Well,
as far
and the
as
oth- and the-
approving expenditures.
Well, and the other approving expenditures part is a twofold thing, so obviously gets approved or not approved by us, approved by them, and it might not be a legal expense, but they're gonna wanna do it anyway.
Yeah. And then-
Like they wanted to do those trees, and we were like, well, they're over a swing set, they're not over the launch. And that's something that would happen, and how are you gonna handle that? I mean, I would, to get the town off of liability, I would say no. I would say we have to vote separately, or, so it's gonna mix that whole thing into the equation too.
So I would
I don't see
say,
why they
using
didn't know how
this
much it would cost.
opportunity as a springboard for other understandings, yeah, that seems like a pretty good way to go, except I think this is a compressed timeline. And so it didn't really seem like we wanted to get too many entanglements outside of this one. The whole reason this comes forward here to the county is that you're asking to encroach on some of the parkland that's not part of the boat launch, so that boats can turn around easier. That's where we got drawn into it, your planning during your project.
Which wasn't done right years ago. Like a long time ago, it should have been cut and dry.
I talked to Jim a little bit about this tonight, and this is a golden opportunity. Let's get all this stuff worked out so that future county boards, future town boards, don't have to worry about it, aren't having the same argument. Let's just get it fixed. And it's just gonna be simply sit down. Walt can't make a decision for the committee tonight. It'd be nice if
Right.
you could just sit down, negotiate that, and get it done, and get it out of everybody's hair, because county has no desire to be confrontational here. We want to cooperate, we want to see that be the best park in Lake Mills area, you know, or one of them. I can't take away from other parks, but I like to do it. So let's get it fixed and put it behind us. It's not meant to be confrontational. It's just meant to, let's get this sorted out so we're all happy, and the next 50 years we don't have to deal with it again.
So just in relationship to this MOU, if we come to the Parks Board meeting on the 12th, I guess you said it was, right? Or whenever it is, and we have our edits, are you gonna have council there that's gonna, decision be made that night? That's what I'm asking. Or is it gonna go back to a council again, or you're gonna go right to the county board?
Plus having council there.
You're gonna go right to the county board right after that, right?
Yeah, so they're gonna have to write it up for the county board, so they're gonna have that council there.
Okay.
You know, and they will be there for the county board meeting anyway, so it's.
What
it's not
approval
difficult.
process do we need? Because all this has to be done,
We have to approve it too, once we have a
so
final
we'd have to
draft.
approve it that day. But then that would have to happen because I'm gonna be gone the rest of the month anyway, so.
Well, couldn't you notice a meeting and rule you instead?
Yeah.
All right, so then we need,
During an election.
Still a public meeting.
so then we need, if you're gonna be gone, we need to discuss this right now.
Well, we need to have it before the 20th regardless.
Yeah.
I know.
We gotta have some form, shape, or form of a letter of support, otherwise it doesn't happen and we're into the next cycle.
Right.
And that thing it does need to get done. There's, one of those plates has shifted really bad in that launch.
But before we leave then, to get this done, we have to make a decision on how we wanna edit this, and then send a representative to their meeting to discuss it, correct?
Unless we want to just show up to the meeting and do it there.
Well, you said you were gonna be gone.
No,
Okay.
I'll be here till
I'll
the
post a
15th.
form.
All right,
I
okay,
leave
I thought,
I leave on Wednesday,
okay,
so I'm here,
so
yeah,
you can attend.
I'm in town, yes.
Can we all attend? You're gonna notice it?
I can post a quorum, yes. Dave?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, you can be there?
Yeah, when is it, when did we say it was Monday night?
Monday, 5:30 PM in room 1021, I believe it is. I'll have to double check that.
Is that the-
It's noticed on the county website under agendas and minutes on that homepage.
Is that the room that's all the way down the hallway and then snakes?
Downstairs, after the security entrance, downstairs, and you
To
go
the
around
right.
two right turns and all the way to the end of the hall.
Okay.
It's
Down where
not-
land information used to be?
Yeah, it's down by zoning.
Okay.
Yeah.
1021 is a room number?
1021?
I've had this placed on the county board agenda without really knowing what's gonna be in it, because we know you're on a timeline.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, then we need a motion on that. I make a motion that we, town board, attend the county parks meeting on Monday
5:30 PM.
to work on this MOU.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, say nay, motion carries.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Discussion or decision of proposed educational flyer regarding Wake and Hacks technology flyer. I ask for a motion to table this indefinitely.
Oh, I'll make a motion to table it. Indefinitely.
Can we get a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, say nay, motion carries. C, discussion or decision of Cambridge Fire EMS intergovernmental agreement rewrite.
Still in the lawyer's hands. I have not had any correspondence to where they're at.
Okay, thanks, Dave. Discussion or decision of Cedar Lane ditches and storm water drainage. Okay, we looked at this. Brian and Corey were both there. Looks like we're gonna need to do some ditching. Dave, I know you had seen it.
Yep.
So, yeah, best recommendation was ditching. We saw an extra driveway in there with a culvert underneath it.
Yeah.
That's got
At
turf
least
on
that
it.
one's got a culvert.
But I think it can be, the general recommendation that Corey had was just just have somebody come in and ditch it down to where, kind of where those rocks all unfolded there, and then it kind of naturally flows into the deal. So I
Yep.
guess if we get a motion to get an estimate on that ditching.
I'll make a motion that we get an estimate on, the Cedar Lane ditching.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay, motion carries. Discussion or decision of retention pond in Short Hills for estimate of re-engineering. So they both looked at that. We don't think that digging the pond out is gonna really do a whole lot of good. It's just
No.
That was
It's
done
just
in
gonna-
2020.
It's just gonna fill up anyway, no matter
Yeah,
how
it's
big it
just,
makes.
it's gonna hold a little more water, that's it.
So, but the two little things, the culvert that goes to the lake,
They don't go to the lake.
They run back to the
They
pond.
just go back and forth under the road.
Yeah, they do need to be cleaned out.
I was gonna say that's entirely filled with sediment and
Yeah.
water, like you can't even look at
Yeah,
it.
that's usually what happens, yeah.
But
But
they
those,
just-
Corey, those run back underneath the street into the pond.
Right.
It'd be nice if they went into the lake,
It sure
my
would.
opinion only.
oh, so those are just sitting there then.
Yeah.
'Cause Brian-
Well, they were set up when the road was built so that if we could get an agreement with Mary Price to run a pipe down through her property to the
That would
lake.
be the thing
That's
to
what
do.
they were put in. But Mary Price never went along
Yeah.
with that, and it never got done, so that's why they're there. They just go back to the pond.
Well, yeah, I mean, it may, because that's full of water.
And those could be sucked out, I mean,
On a year like this year, I don't know if it'll make any difference, it's still just gonna sit there.
yeah, right, yeah. I'm really actually surprised how fast it actually goes down.
We do, however, we do have some engineering that you did when you were at R.A. Smith.
Right,
And I
I
don't-
did do a survey of that and looked at, where the rights of way are. I think sediment has accumulated in that pond over time, and right now, the only way water gets out of there is to soak into the ground.
Right.
So as that sediment fills in the bottom, it makes it harder for that water to soak into the ground. So at one point, we were talking about, dredging that out, not to create storage, but to get the water to soak back into the ground like it used to.
Well,
I'm not sure if those are on file or not, if they're not, I can write a letter to R.A. Smith to obtain them, so I'd imagine they have them.
I asked Robin to check with Leverton At that time, when you did that, you were trying to increase the right-of-way of the road, correct? To include more of the pond.
Yeah, because that's not all in there.
And you tried to work with the neighbors up above on Lake Terrace. And Lee Leverton drew up the survey and then agreements with those 3 property owners that they would give up that to the town for a right-of-way. And that all fell through. That was in 2019, right before I came on board. I remember seeing that document, so I don't know, it should be in, I talked to
It's
Hope
floating
today,
around.
and she said it was in the boxes that she gave the
Yeah,
town.
we can find it.
Yeah, and that all came back here,
Yeah, it's in the
Okay,
office.
so it should be here.
where it should.
Then in 2020, November of 2020, that pond was dug out again. And the issue with digging it deeper is there's a clay bottom in that pond by design. So that
Correct.
the water does not percolate into the ground fast because there's shallow well, or sand points of all those cottages along Shore Hills Road.
Right.
So they cannot get rid of that water faster. It's gotta be by evaporation. That's the dilemma. That's why the pipe was asked to be put to the lake, but that got nixed.
Do we need to check to see how many of those cottages still have sandpoint wells?
Well, sure.
Because when they go bad, you can't put them in anymore.
Right. Maybe they've been
Legally.
replaced, or maybe they,
Yeah. Menards and Farmer Fleet still sell them.
Yeah, well, you can still get them.
Have to go ask them, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. You have to go knock on doors and find out.
well, they would have had to pull a permit with the county in order to put new wells in, correct?
Yeah.
Zoning.
No, that's done by the well driller.
Well, legally, they can't do it.
Yeah,
A plumber
the state,
can't come in and.
Right,
Well driller in the
Yeah.
state.
yeah,
And they typically, they won't touch it,
yeah,
so, because if they get called out on it by somebody.
because they're illegal.
Yeah.
A lot of them down there are in their basement.
Yep.
They're put in 5-foot sections.
All right, moving on. Discussion or decision of adoption of amendment to Town Ordinance 1-8, Police Department. Public hearing was held last month.
We just need to adopt at this point.
Make a motion to adopt Chapter 8, Town Police Department ordinance.
Second,
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye, all opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Discussion or decision adoption amendment of Town Ordinance 6-1 Traffic Code Enforcement for engine braking.
I'll make a motion to approve,
Adopt.
or adopt, I'm sorry.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. New business, discussion or decision of Rock Lake Road project bids opening. Can I get a motion to table this?
I'll make a motion to table the discussion or decision of Rock Lake Road project bids opening.
Second.
Any other discussion? I tried to listen in today and I didn't really hear anything, and I've looked at the bridge project and seen, I don't know how in the heck they're even be able to get it done this year, so I think we should just get moved to the September meeting. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Discussion or decision of Lake Lane Roadwork Project. That's the same thing, so if we table that till next month.
Make a motion to table.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Discuss the decision of financial plan and funding for the Rock Lake Road project. Table that too.
Make a motion to table.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Discussion or decision of water runoff issues with Park Lane. Now, okay, so we looked at that one as well. And that's been determined, well, it was initially determined by both engineers that essentially, and Corey can chime in on it, that the water coming off of the one little portion of Park Lake Road, what percentage is that?
It's roughly 20% of the drainage area is right of way.
Right away, okay. That it wasn't essentially a Park Lane road or town issue, and that is a completely private road. They both issued documentation that states that that's a private road down there, private drainage down in there. with the private manhole that does go to the lake. So I know Terry's here tonight. If he's got any concerns, he can express those at this time.
And you do keep a screen in there, so that's a real good idea. You got real estate to protect there, so,
I mean, I guess my concern is, my neighbor told me that back in the mid-2000s, Jim, you were
Yep.
Chairman, David.
yeah, we were out there, yeah.
The road was revised because water was coming off of the road onto private property.
Right, we put a lip on the east side of Park Lane to
Right.
shoot the water across into the, get it to go down Park Lane into the park, down towards the launch.
But now it's running down our private road. So why was the road revised in order to not allow water to run off onto a private property? But I was also told by this individual that there was a meeting held between the town board, the county, a couple contractors, and some of the local residents, and it was determined that the county said that they would not allow any water to be run into the park. I don't know, I wasn't there, I wasn't even an owner of property on Park Lane at the time. So my question is, how can a road be changed so that water doesn't run onto one neighbor's property, but the road can be revised so that all of the water runs down a driveway, which is a private property?
It wasn't designed that way. The lip was put on.
That's another thing. Are there any design documents available?
I don't
And
recall.
have
So long ago.
and have those documents, were those documents approved by the county or by the state?
Do you remember if that road was cut? I know we put the lip on to keep the water going down Park Lane
Right,
towards the lake.
And he's right, because the county didn't want us
Right.
forcing all that water in there, so then we tried to make it more run down
Run
the
the
road,
Into that manhole.
into the manhole, and then into the lake, yeah.
That's the way it was engineered.
Yeah. So my concern is, over the years, part of that road, part of our private driveway is blacktop.
It is.
Where the water is hitting the gravel, has a lot of erosion. Tom was there, were you here? I was not here at the time. I was at the dog park, taking my dog and all that stuff, and I think I missed you guys by about 15 minutes or something like that. And I'm just concerned that if the water that was running off of Park Lane Road was not coming down our driveway, we wouldn't have we would still have issues because of the water from running off from a gravel parking area, which is absorbed, during a heavy rain and all that stuff. But with the amount of water that comes down that hill, it causes a lot of erosion when it hits the gravel. It follows the contour of the gravel, and then it goes into the drain. And we do have a screen there. That screen does get plugged up, and then it goes around the screen and all that stuff. And then there's also a lot of debris that gets caught in the grate for the drain. I am one of the full-time residents there, so I keep that clean. I also work with the lady that owns the property. So between the two of us, we're cleaning that out all the time, and most of it is because of the amount of water that comes off of Rock Lake Road, Park Lane Road. So I guess I'm just questioning, like I said before, why was the road revised to stop the water from going onto private property, but then it it was revised to send everything down our private road.
Wasn't designed to send everything down your road. It was designed to get the water off of those private properties, Crow Grove and the ones up towards the road,
Yeah.
to get it off of their properties, take it down Park Lane all the way to the boat launch area, not down your road.
Okay,
So whatever road, whatever water was coming off in 2008 after we did that is the same water that's coming off today, but it's much less than it was prior to 2008.
Okay, so then, seeing that there's a lip on the side of the road by Jim Colgrove's property and by now Grant Herring's property, why can't there be a lip installed on our truck at the end of our driveway so that the water bypasses our driveway, but then it's also, then it's probably go on to the tree line there.
Yep, and it'll go on to that first house up there.
Right.
That's what we tried to avoid, because she,
Yeah,
Taylor, was it Taylor at that time?
Jeannie Taylor.
There was no way we were putting any water on her property.
You won't be putting it on it now either.
Right, and I agree with that, but the majority of the water, and I sent all of you photographs that I took of water running down Park Lane, down our driveway, and there wasn't any water heading down towards Park Lane Road towards the boat launch.
I mean, I'm gonna disagree a little bit, and I'll let Corey speak on it as far as water surface area is concerned. You've got water coming from all directions in that spot. You got water coming off of Cold Groves, you got water coming off all those roofs, and that extra going into that drain. So when the drain's at capacity, then it just backs up.
Right, but.
I mean, that's a lot of surface area,
Right, but what I'm saying is,
way more than Park Lane is,
well, what I'm
by
saying
a
is.
long shot.
The water off of Park Lane is causing erosion in our driveway.
I mean, our town engineers and the county engineer was out there, they didn't think that was the case.
Well,
I
I
mean-
guess, there's no doubt that water goes from Park Lane onto there.
Yeah, a little
But
bit, yeah.
But historically, it always has.
Right.
And when you really run into problems is when you start diverting water in directions where it didn't go before. You send water to another house, then their house floods,
Yes.
then the town's
Yeah.
liable. I'm sure the county doesn't want us routing a whole bunch of new water that never got into the park either.
That floods too.
That
Park floods already, yeah.
So, to divert water very quickly creates new problems from old problems, right?
So, my question is, can the town's engineer and the local residents work together and say, this is what can be done in order to eliminate erosion and all the debris that is being forced down our private property, down our road, yet it's getting in the grate and causing that grate to flood? Can we work as a team to come up with a solution?
Well,
I mean, on your private road, you guys can do whatever you want.
So that means I can go and blacktop it,
Yeah,
road,
and I don't need any approval?
no.
Really?
You can, yeah,
I
your
can do
private,
anything to that private road without getting approval from anybody?
Well, you
From
might have
the
to check
town
with
board.
the county, but,
if
you have to
it's,
get approval from your neighbors,
right.
unless you're gonna pay 100%.
No, right. But I don't need any approval from you, I don't need any approval from zoning, I don't need
Zoning,
any approval from
impervious
DNR,
person,
I don't
impervious.
need approval from anybody.
The town board can tell you you don't need approval from them. I think beyond that, it
Yeah.
really depends on what you're doing and how you're doing it, whether you need zoning approval. It
Right.
depends on how much area you disturb, if you need DNR approval.
yeah.
So I guess without knowing the specifics, and that's not really our jurisdiction, we can't weigh in on those.
And how much water's going in the lake, I'm sure at one time that was probably all looked at too. Because I know when they put those storm drains in there, those are pretty heavily scrutinized by the county.
Right, that's what I would think so too. So you're telling me that I don't need any approval from the town board?
Right, because you already have access, so you don't need an access or a driveway permit, because that's already there.
It's already there,
Yeah.
it's existing.
Once you're off the right of way, it's yours.
And it seems like a majority of the problem is the gravel washing out, and the screen is all filled with grass clippings.
I saw that too on Sunday, I was down there, leaves and sticks and grass clippings.
That screening was cleaned because the lady that owns that property comes up every weekend and she cleans that screen. So whatever debris was in that screen happened probably Monday night.
And that's what I figured,
You
yeah.
know, because I mean, we know, I mean, I've been living there since 2012, and this has been a problem since 2012, except this year, or the past couple years with some of the heavy rains, it's getting worse and worse and worse. And for the past 5-6 years, every fall, I go up to what's his name on 89, and I get a load of gravel in my trailer, a ton of gravel, and I fill in that washed out area, and I fill in all the potholes and all.
We're dealing with it this year on all our town roads.
Yeah.
Well, instead of getting a load of gravel, get a load of asphalt. You know, take that from where the asphalt is down to that low point, then the water will all get to the inlet without washing your.
And Korth Lane, just for example, we're having an asphalt gutterway put in for that reason, because the shoulder keeps washing out and washing down the
Right.
hill.
So,
Because that's the only way that's gonna solve that problem.
okay, well, I mean, I just wanted to bring it up, because people, there are certain people in our little area that are upset as far as what's happening. And they see the same thing I see, and we don't see any water being diverted down towards the lake, down towards, you know, we see all of it being, coming down our road, so. Maybe you can add that to your list of, road repairs, to divert some of that water to where it was originally intended to go.
We'll have to check it out during a heavy rain.
Watch it.
There's
All right,
no other discussion
perfect.
on this, right? We don't need to do anything? No action?
Yeah, I'll give you a call or text you.
Sure.
Thanks, Terry. Discussion or decision of walkways in the Short Hills subdivision area.
Is there anybody here from the homeowners?
Yep, this is Brian.
What do you own up there? What do we own?
We don't own them. We don't own those pathways. I have a few documents that I found that states that as well as looking at the Jefferson County, the public land records, and when you hover over these pathways, there's no information, and then they state on the maps that they're public walkways. We don't also pay any taxes on these pathways as well. So when we had people that was talking about storm damage, I got to looking into it, and I'd asked Robin to see if we can find any documentation that says that the HOA owns them, and we're unable to find them. But the documents that we have on hand state that the common areas owned by Rock Lake and the walkways owned by the township. This was dated in '92. Most recently, in 2001, the property was dedicated. This is from the Rock Lake Homeowners Association Corporation. The property was dedicated as a public walkway in July of '78. That Short Hills third additional subdivision was platted. This public property owned by the town of Lake Mills is not owned by the Rock Lake Homeowners Association. So we simply, we don't want to have a budget period to remove these trees. And
No, we don't do it.
listen, I feel for you, I'm in that same boat. And I brought a copy of our treasurer's report too, to show the balances. I've seen one to be as transparent as possible too, so.
Yeah, when it comes to actual, like, trees falling out of there and falling onto your property, say my tree fell onto your property.
That's just the story though. Because you own your property, I own my property. This right now shows no.
No, but by Wisconsin law, I'm not at fault. You still have to deal with that problem.
I'm saying that we don't own the walkways.
No, correct, the town does, but it doesn't matter, that the same principle applies. If a tree falls and it falls onto private land, it's still up to the landowner to deal with the issue that's
So
on
who's the landowner?
Well, if they're, not us.
Either are we.
Well, I don't know where there was a residence's
There
house
was
that
a
the tree
residence
fell
house,
into
yeah.
his yard, so then he has to deal with that issue.
Right.
It's not the town's responsibility.
What keeps coming up is when there are trees falling from these walkways onto, like, this gentleman's house this time, they expect the town, or, I think there are some pathways the HOA does, we're
So we own-
vacated.
There's one that we own.
Right.
And that's on Well, it's all public knowledge.
Right, so what's happening is they're expecting the town or the HOA to pay for these trees that are falling.
Right.
Which, because we're not maintaining them as actual walkways, because we don't have the money to maintain walkways through there.
Well, technically, if a tree falls onto their property, they can trim back to the property line and.
Absolutely.
That's,
Yep.
and Tom is right. If a tree falls out of a adjacent landowners onto your property, it's your problem. Same thing was in the road. We have trees that are not
It's
in
a
the
crappy
right of way.
Wisconsin law, and I didn't write it.
We have trees that are out of the right of way that fall in the road, and they're our responsibility to get the road clean, and we have to clean it up to the point of
That
where
property line.
the property line, and the rest of it's the landowner's baby.
And I've had it happen a lot to me. Stuff falling on from neighbors over to my property.
What about the commons area between?
We pay taxes on that, we own that.
So you
Yeah.
own that's like 5 acres in there between Stockbridge Court and
Yes, sir.
Sunset Court, you own that one, and then there's another one
Yep, but the other property's down by the lake, by Ferry Park.
north of it, yeah.
Yep, we pay taxes on that as well.
You guys own the
So-
walkway between Woodfield and Bridle Path, too, that
Correct.
goes by Carpenters?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want some more walkways?
What about the one,
Do you want some more walkways?
No, I don't want any.
We're gonna vacate a couple of them.
Those are in the development, the developer's agreement to dedicate those to the township.
Yeah, but nothing's ever done.
Yeah, nothing's in.
Yeah.
Any of them, it doesn't matter
They're
if they're
really,
public or.
what's our ambition to do that anyway?
So is this something
It's all
that,
walking.
so to move this forward, is there something that the town should consider as far as vacating those walkways, and then the land would go back, split between the property owners that are about to them?
Yeah, I have no.
The only one I can see that not happening to is the one that goes back into the dry pond.
Oh, for access.
Yeah, for access. That we probably
That's
would.
not really a walkway. though.
Well, actually,
That's an
well, it's not
easement.
like, yeah, it's an easement.
That's an
yeah.
easement.
Which we don't use the easement anyway, because that's all grown up with trees.
use the
We use
city.
Yeah, the neighbors, yeah.
That's in the third installment, your spot?
Yes, correct, yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
so then we could just deed them right over. If we-
Listen,
Well, I
it
mean,
saves you a headache and a million emails. I have no issues with that whatsoever.
Yeah,
so we just need to figure out how to vacate that stuff, if
Okay.
you can. I've talked to
Then it becomes taxable real estate. Right now, it doesn't get taxed at all. So thank you.
it's maybe 6 feet worth of property.
No volunteer there, right?
Okay, I have to check in on that.
I just wanted an answer to give to folks when this happens, and like I said, from
I
a
think we
budget,
need-
obviously you guys can relate, I wanna be able to tell them something that's.
I think we
definitive.
need that
Yeah, exactly.
state statute number.
I don't know, and since HOA, because I've been there for 20-some years, nothing has really ever been done with even the HOA pathways,
Nothing's been what?
really done to them.
I'm aware.
You know, I mean, it's complicated. Your dues aren't very much
Yeah, I'm also aware.
to cover what you have
I've
to
had
cover.
the painstaking pleasure of being the president now for 3 years.
You know, and in some fantasy land, if paths were being put in and everything was being executed, because I remember, what's his name showing me the plan that was drawn up way back when, to actually have walkways or usable ones. Then maybe the town would be able to help with some planning to say, yeah, there's something we can do, but there's been nothing done in all that time period, and I don't envision anything being done at all.
Yeah, I think honestly that, that's associated to, obviously, like you mentioned, the small amount of dues that are due each year as well.
Trees are,
Everybody wants these glamorous things done, but when it comes time to raising dues, there's obviously some pushback, and
Oh, yeah.
that's the result of that.
Yeah.
Believe me, I wish we had the budget, because I would just chop down the trees and move on.
Volunteers.
yeah, trees are expensive.
Yeah.
They're a killer. All right, so we need a motion to.
I make a motion that the town investigate vacating the pedestrian walkways and put it on a future agenda.
Second?
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. All right, discussion and/or decision of
Thank you, Brian.
wake boat surfing on Rock Lake. I'd like to, and we can discuss it later, but I'd actually there's other counties that have actually adopted resolutions on this to try to collectively kind of unify everything for smaller local governments and at the same time make this subject aware to our state legislature. So I'm gonna ask for a motion that we move this onto, this topic onto on wakeboard surfing on Rock Lake, to the county land and water director and the land conservation committee to take up and draft a resolution that at some point in time, if towns want to adopt and write local ordinances, that they have something that's consistent to go by.
Now, Tom, because now, doesn't the
I'll
state?
second that, is that a motion?
Yeah, that's what I was going for.
All right, well, I can make the motion, yeah.
I'll second it for
Okay.
discussion.
All right, discussion.
So, and I agree that it's nice if the county does that, because then we just adopt it, but now doesn't the state have to do that? Because doesn't the state say that we cannot be more stringent on, wakeboards? I thought I read someplace.
Depends how you write that resolution.
Oh, okay.
So it depends on the resolution that the county would write and the language in there that they could work on. Because one of the resolutions that I've seen says giving the local governments, the ability to write in more state stringent, because there has been some state legislatures that don't want that in there at all.
Right.
But of course, nothing's being done at the state level, and I think it's gonna take, a bigger elephant to kind of push them, and as more counties adopt these resolutions, it'll kind of start pushing them in that direction and help out with that.
And I'm okay with it, because then at least hopefully you'll get some consistency out of it.
And it really fits the Land Conservation Committee, because their whole objective is to support county land and water and protecting our resources, our shorelines, our land, our water resources.
So do you suppose you're gonna have to then put more buoys out there to mark where the water is deeper than 20 foot? Or do they have to use a depth finder, or how are
They do it by GIS,
GIS? Is that
right? They already got that in that.
On that one map, on that
Yep.
brochure.
Yeah.
But are
Tom.
these people gonna follow it? They don't follow a lot of stuff out there right now.
That's why you got police officers on there.
Yeah.
It's GIS coordinated at Rock Lake, go ahead.
Yeah, so those waypoints now have, by Jefferson County Land Water Conservation, they created a Google map where those waypoints show up. So if you go to that link for that Google map, your smartphone would show where you are relative to where those four coordinates are.
Right, and one of the big things is, as far as townships are concerned, or local areas, these things are all over the board. Makes enforcement a nightmare.
Yep.
One's 200 feet from shoreline, one's 300 feet, one's 500 feet. It's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, at the county level, and they can look at some of these other county ones that are being adopted, essentially they can come up with a standard that works, because yes, you can do GIS, and it can say, okay, wakeboard, they operate in this zone, but that could still be within, 200 feet of shore, or maybe it's 500 feet from shore that's in a resolution. That makes sense. So, I mean, I think it fits that committee really well to work with the county land and water director and technician to come up with language, and our committee, Joint Rock Lake Committee, whatever they drum up in their efforts, and RLIA, they can support that mission as well, and be involved in that process as well, because those are open to the public. And then at some point, as the county does a resolution, they're gonna have to have a public hearing. They're way better set up for this topic than smaller municipalities are. So they could take a heck of a lot of weight off of everybody's shoulders. And then if the wheels get turning on this, I mean, something could be in place as far as an ordinance amendment by next year for next boating season. But it'll help aid in that process. It still gives the townships the extra ability to have more, if they want more stringent or whatever, and they want to, stick their neck out and go overboard on their ordinance, they can. But I think consistency is needed on this topic. It's a very complicated one, and I think the state needs to get pushed a little bit too, and I think the county can do that.
Okay, so you got you've got a motion and a second.
Yep.
Yes, so, I'm also on the Land and Water Conservation Committee.
You lucky dog.
You're in the-
This is a hot topic, and, also, I would say, so that's gonna be one consideration, I think we're on the right track. Our executive committee gets many, resolutions through the county's association each year, and I would imagine there's gonna be a resolution that will come, regarding this topic. So we could let you know when that comes here to us, or you can keep an eye on the agenda for the executive committees coming up. And then the other third thing I would say is you have two people running for the assembly here tonight, and I think their ears are open, and that's a really the main, I mean, those guys make the decisions regarding what the DNR does. And maybe, they'll take that when they win, or if they do, or we hope they do, I guess, and they can take that with them. Thanks for letting me say that.
You bet. All right.
Nice.
Any other discussion? We good? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries to move that on to the county.
Who's gonna notify the county of this?
I can shoot an email out.
Okay.
Discussion or decision of signage for recruitment of employees for emergency services. I asked to have this put on here.
Yeah.
I just got a little bit nervous about if we put a sign in the town front yard, how many more signs are for advertising?
As long as it's not political signs.
Now,
I just see they hired four.
I was gonna say,
four
they
new
just
ones.
hired four, so do they need it?
Yeah,
That's
I mean, are we
big,
really
you
in the
know?
business of advertising?
I
I
don't
guess, I don't think so.
I agree. I make a motion that we do not put any signs of that type on the town property out here.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Discussion or decision of additional service options with ISOL payroll service provider for onboarding and offboarding employees, officials, et cetera.
So I sat in on a, sort of an introduction to these additional services they provide, and, yeah, they're nice, but for the cost, I can't see us gaining much on it, so it's kind of a mute issue on it. Is interesting, just too costly for us.
And that's from Drew's?
What's that?
That's from Drew's? The payroll people?
ISOL is the payroll company that we use for.
Yeah,
town.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's gonna be between probably 1,000 to 1,500, depending on how many employees we have on
Wow.
payroll, for the setup, but then probably $300 to $500 annually to have this open, or when we're bringing new employees on the onboarding side of it, where they can go on themselves and put in their payroll information, and then offboarding. And it just doesn't pan out as a reasonable amount.
Because what we pay now, like $75, isn't it a
Yeah.
month?
Yeah, so it's too much of a cost, but it was worth looking into, it was interesting.
Yeah.
Thanks, Robin. Discussion or decision of vacancies on Parks Committee, Plan Commission, Joint Rock Committee. No news on any of those.
I have not been able to get a hold of the individual who we appointed in the Plan Commission. I did have another individual state that he is interested. I'm waiting for him to submit his, his application. So that's what I hear more, but we do have vacancies.
Discussion or decision of 2025 budget workshop dates.
I put that on there so we start thinking about it, because it's gonna sneak up on us.
Fast.
Can we do it? Can we pick one?
Yeah, let's.
There's things I want to do in October.
You too?
Me too.
The
I gotta
good,
pick corn.
Yeah,
the good news is I'm only gone the last 5 days of October.
last 5
Oh,
days.
yeah, you
Instead
go.
of
So-
2 weeks, so.
so our town
I got
board
better
is-
everything.
Our town board is October 8th,
8th.
so it would be right after that, the 10th. 17th, I can't do it 17th, I'm having surgery on my knee.
How about the 15th?
15th,
And the following
What
Tuesday.
day of the week is that?
It's a
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Sounds good to me.
okay.
You gonna be around?
Yeah,
Okay.
I won't on the 17th, that's all.
This is a workshop, so this isn't a formal meeting, it's
Workshop.
the crunch numbers.
Crunch numbers.
Time, 6?
Yep. I'll get it posted.
Make a motion that we have the budget workshop on October 15th at
I'll
6 PM.
Second it. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Discuss your decision to propose draft of fire protection contract with the city of Lake Mills.
We just received that just before we put this agenda together. I don't know how much time you guys have had to look at it.
I read it, there's not much you can do anyway.
That's what
The
happens
only
when you
thing
don't
I
have
saw on
commission.
there is I wish there was language in there about us having like a meeting, like that quarterly meeting with the towns and the city council president, you know, at that meeting to discuss those big purchases and those things before it ends up going to the city council, instead of having to show up there, you know, I mean, you can show up anyway, but, you know, to show
That
up.
language was in the old one, is it not in this new one?
I don't
didn't
remember-
see it.
I don't remember like that, like having an actual separate meeting for it, because I kind of want to force them to make sure that it's, you know, instead of it's just happening, that,
Why don't you draft some language so that we can send that over to the city? So we can keep
because I don't
this-
see why they wouldn't want to do that. I think it, right now, the way it's written, it's just city council.
Right, yes.
It still looks like a dictatorship, and I just think that's not the right way to handle it.
The other thing I really don't agree with, Tom, is when they start talking about, you take like the fire truck that they just purchased and they put it on a 20-year arm. I think if the life cycle is 20 years, you know, that's fine, but the problem with it is all that interest, you know, they should shorten that up to, and I know it eases everybody's budget, but if they cut that in half or even 5 or 6 years. The other thing is on item F, page 4, where they have in here, after the 5 years, it automatically renews itself for 5 years. And then after that 5 years, then it renews itself for 1 year at a time. I think what I'd like to see is, I think, and Jim, I agree with you when the comment you had in the last quarterly meeting, that the 5 years is a lot better than the 20, because a lot of things change. But rather than automatically renewing for the 5 years, I think then it should be automatically year by year.
So auto renew 1 year at a time.
1 year and take the 5 year out of it would be my suggestion. I think there was one more in here, but I'm not sure if I didn't mark it. I think it had something to do with changing the territories. Yeah, I didn't mark it, so, but yeah, that's what I really.
And as long as we have some people here running for office, fire is another very complicated topic. And the equipment is extremely expensive.
Type A personalities.
And we need better unification with all these area units, so we don't need 6 ladder trucks. We don't need, there's a new one coming. There's a new one.
Just got thrown in the budget, you saw that.
Congratulations.
But I mean, there needs to be better unification between all the areas for equipment, and it just,
That's exactly what we've been talking about with them.
everyone, I mean, we're going broke fast.
Well, then the cost of a fire engine goes up 5 to 8% every year. So it's huge.
Yeah, this one's near and dear to my heart.
All right, of
Yeah,
course.
you're right, so it would be under D, so whatever you're gonna add to expand on D1. It says that they're gonna hold a public hearing, but
I think
you're right, the town should meet prior to that.
you need a separate meeting to slow everything down and make sure everything is on the table.
Yeah, so you wanna add language in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
The public hearing is too late.
Okay.
They're gonna have their minds made up.
You're right, yeah, the decision's made.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So we need a motion to table this till next meeting? Is that right?
Sounded like a motion to me.
All right,
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Correspondence. We had the one from,
We had, the legal opinion about the change with the law with drop boxes again and security. We had the one about the liquor license change. I think we gave you guys a copy of that, or email,
Yeah.
forwarded it to you. We should update ours anyways, because I don't think we've messed with that one for quite a while, but then we also should change it, so instead of bringing the operators' licenses to the board each time, as long as they're okay with a good background check, we just do it administratively. So I'll have to work on that draft.
And there's one letter from that Conley from the town of Concord.
Yeah, I.
I just got mine.
You got it in the mail?
Yeah, I was gonna
Okay.
give it tonight, but
Yeah. Wanting support in regards to the county's change from A3 subdivisions.
Can I ask Steve a question on that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Steve, I don't know if you're aware of this letter that town members received in the mail the last day or so. It's in regards to the town of Concord and the amendment that the county made to the A3 properties.
I knew they were gonna send out something, yeah.
Did they have a comprehensive plan approved?
Well, there's two issues going on with them. They had a comprehensive plan approved back in 2017 or 2016, or excuse me, 206 or 207 or something like that, and they let it expire.
That's what my point was.
So that's one court case, is an appeals court right now.
Okay.
Now, the A3 thing is a new one that they have decided that they're opposed to.
But if they don't have a comprehensive plan, that's,
They've redone one now.
oh, they have,
And they're
okay.
trying to retroactively push it back, and it
Oh,
That doesn't work.
I figured there was more to this than what he told. Okay, all right, thank you.
We didn't get the letter yet, but we were expecting something, and we'll have it officially.
You can have a copy of mine. All right, discussion of future agenda items.
We had a lot that was tabled, so those will go back on.
Yep.
I also had the liquor license draft, ordinance we can work on. I'll
We're gonna
try to
have our
get.
attorney work on that one?
I think he sent a sample, so I was gonna update that to
Okay.
fit us. And then the other one was that ARIP grant that you talked about.
Egg grant, yeah.
Yeah, the egg grant. Anything else? It'll be September, so any other budget type? Nothing?
Well, you got the fire contract. again.
Fire contract.
Well, you guys just tabled
Yeah,
it, so
Okay.
there's probably a dozen of those you tabled tonight. So, okay.
All right, meeting scheduled September 3rd, 2024, Plan Commission meeting 7 PM, Town Hall, September 12th, 2024, Joint Rec Committee meeting 6 PM, City meeting TBA Parks Committee 7 PM at Town Hall, September 10th, 2024, Town Board 7 PM at the Town Hall, TBA Town Hall Facilities meeting 6 PM at the Town Hall, and August 13th at 5:30 PM, Parks Committee meeting at the county.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Meeting
That's the-
adjourned.